Hello guys, hello guys. I just wanted to get on
Focus on the
board with this
positive and be focused on the good things that we get and not
I
the
just
stuff that we
wanted
don't
to
get, right? It's healthier that way.
hold on for a
The changes
second.
for the human. One of the most exciting things
What's
is
up
that
guys? I wanted
Kilowog,
to talk
Master
about some
Spell of the
balance changes that
Sorceress,
have
is
occurred
now
in the
available
past,
on
not so
Heroes. Prior to
recent.
that, it was only Units.
So
On Heroes, it has a
let's take a quick
1.5
hit.
second.
And just 1 second. This is a- Now, as you can imagine, um, um, this occurred 7 months ago, and this occurred in June 5, 2024, so quite a while.
Cooldown duration, which obviously
I
has some
just wanted to talk
implications.
about
When you're
balance
hexed,
changes.
you don't get XP. When you're hexed, you can't TP. When you're hexed, you can't use invul potions. Sounds pretty broken? Might not
Um,
be, as we have a very high mana cost on that spell, and even with an Archmage with Brilliant Aura, it is hard to get the
yeah.
mana together for that spell. Arcane Tower. One of the stables of the human defense is the tower that's not necessarily there to do damage, but rather burn your mana to lower the impact of an immolation demon hunter of a lich.
So one of the
And
first things he
the
gets
tower
onto
does
about
feedback
is
damage.
an Arcane Tower hero feedback reduced from 16 to 14. So once again, this is spiking the mana of the heroes. You can only imagine this would be a great opportunity.
That burns your mana away. This was buffed in one of the previous patches to 16 mana, and that makes it less clunky to cast Flame Strike, because we've previously 25 has been buffed to 40. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. You pay more mana initially and less mana per hit point.
That's the way he says mana.
Dragonhawk Riders on top.
Okay, so one of the things that Dragonheart Rider base damage increased from 17 to 19. This really doesn't mean much. Is It's great for attacking dryads because a human player can only grab griffins for the air. So if you've got Dragonheart Riders, you can kind of zone in on dryads and take them down. So to be able to attack a base better with Dragonhawks, I don't see what's going on there. It must be part of a bigger thing.
Do 2 damage more.
Once again, this patch is version 1.36.2. I have no idea where we're at now.
To give them a bit weaker, still very strong. Just
Serpent Ward level 3 base damage reduced from 46 to 45. So the Serpent Ward is the ward that the Shadow Hunter put in base. The Shadow Hunter can summon if you choose that spell. And those wards at level 3, which means you probably have a level 5 Shadow Hunter, can lead to a lot of destruction in the base. Apparently now oh no, now you can't because the amount of damage they're going to do to the base is definitely being reduced. Once again, I don't know where they got that idea.
a bit nerfed. And something that you will see across all siege units of non-humans, movement speed of demolishers has been buffed so they don't trail so far behind.
The demolishers being able to move would be great. It's so hard to implement them. But once again, they're very strategy oriented. 1 versus 1 and 4 versus 4. You don't see them a lot.
Behind are a little bit faster, a bit more usable. Night Elves. Searing Arrow of the bottom does a bit more damage across all levels.
So Searing Arrows is the Priestess of auto attack spell. It drains mana, and they've increased the damage, which would encourage using it, which would be great.
There was previously on the PTRs also the mana cost adjusted, but that is not the case anymore. What is adjusted is Starfall. We just saw it in an FFA. Basically, the duration has been cut.
So Starfall only goes on for 30 seconds now. Starfall is the ultimate spell of the Priestess of the Moon. Having all those waves is just fantastic, but apparently it's not going to go on longer. And this spell is so hard to implement in gameplay that I know this was a while ago, but this is definitely an unprecedented change. I guess they don't want the Starfall to go on for so long. I mean, where they're getting where these balance changes are getting their info from would surprise me. I could care less how long it goes on for, because usually an enemy will stop it.
By 1/3, and it does more damage per wave. It seems a lot burstier now. As of course the damage is a bit tightened up and condensed, which feels very impactful. Similar treatment to what was given to, for example, a Tranquility on the other side or a Blade Storm. But the damage per target has been reduced on level 1 and increased on level 2 and 3. This might make the Warden more playable.
I think he's talking about the Warden. Fan of Knives is fantastic, and they've lowered the amount of damage you can do. I've noticed that at a very high level, Fan really take down armies.
Wisps also survive a little longer with 5 HP. You might think 5 HP, that
Wow, a Wisp is a little bit higher, so you might, if you're a Blade Master, you might require more puncture to the Wisp.
meaningless, but it does tackle some of the breakpoints. For in Undead Mirror, where we only saw destroyers because there was no true counter to them. Now,
Right now he's talking about the Undead Army changes for them.
Anti-Magic Shell is playable again, and that is
The anti-magic shell can no longer be dispellable by Devour Magic. So that's kind of funny, and this would be Undead versus Undead.
probably the best thing that could have happened to Undead Mirror. Haunted Goldmine has been destroyed over and over and over and over again from humans especially. Now it builds 5.
So a gold mine it takes a little bit less long to build. So that's going to be a super game changer in the solo. Just for 5 seconds of gold, I can't imagine.
Seconds faster.
I don't know if I'm 100% correct on that. I think there's a lot of things.
And also gains more HP per second, certainly above to 2 base 2 base. Nerub Tower does piercing damage now, shouldn't be too impactful except weakens an Undead Tower push. One of the most discussed topics was Ghoul Frenzy upgrade. It has ruined and plagued the Undead Night Elf matchup for a long time. The 9-minute 30 push, you all know it. Now it researches 5 seconds.
So you can research Gold Frenzy very quickly, and the movement speed of goals have been reduced. So this might affect like Happy and lots of undead players who just can't really spell out what to do. I know there's some great Chinese undead players. A lot of times you can take a Fire Lord and make a goal.
Lower, and the movement speed for Ghoul Frenzy has been tackled, so ghouls overall are slower now. An upgraded ghoul is as fast as a fast hero, but of course you also have to put the
The undead army is very strong. You can cripple mechanical units. I think that got removed later on. Scroll of Healing removed. Relics. This is true. This left. Wand of Negation added to the Tome of Relics. That's quite interesting. A meat wagon can move very quickly. That's quite neat. Love that. Here comes an advertisement. What's this game? World of Warships. I think just having Warcraft 3 requires speed and you to look at the screen to see when it's time to teleport, healing at the right time. Having a great graphics card and just having graphics like these would be fantastic.
The Firelord Ultimate does.
This is the neutral heroes.
less damage to buildings. Soulburn gets an increase on the damage mitigation, minus 75%. Remo thinks that might be a hope towards the Demon Hunter. We'll see about that. Also, longer duration if not dispelled. Tornado travels faster, so easier controllable.
So this is about neutral heroes. A volcano building damage is reduced. Soul burn damage reduction increased from 50 to 60. Soul burn damage is a very uncommon spell for a Fire Lord to use, and it stops them from doing spells, and it does damage as well, which has been reduced. And I don't know where they got that info, but I guess I would use Soul Burn a little bit less since there's less damage. I'd just be wary of that.
Mana
Tornado from the Naga Sea Witch is the speed would be fantastic. Go all around the base, kill the base, or maybe use it in a battle.
Shield of the Naga is cheaper to activate, and Zeppelins cost food now.
Mana Shield activation costs reduced from 25 to 10. Activation. So this is the Naga. The Naga spend so much to activate it because if you're being attacked, it drains the mana you've got, and you take damage from the mana. As you lose mana, you take damage less often. Then your mana runs out, and now it's not effective.
One food. Items.
Goblin Zeppelin food. They want one food for our Zeppelin. Zeppelin blows up buildings. That's interesting. So you can't be at max and then quickly get a Zeppelin, blow up their buildings. So I mean, that's not really the best thing to do. I'm sure you'd have room for food when purchasing a Zeppelin. A Zeppelin can really kind of end someone's expansion quick. Throughout the game, it takes a while for you to be able to purchase three at the time, and three is the most you can purchase, and that can do insane damage. And definitely when you're dealing with someone who's turtling, they come in handy. But to give them food increase, it's kind of an interesting way of looking at it.
Anchor of Reincarnation triggers faster, so it's less likely to town portal while you.
Anchor of Reincarnation delay reduced from 7 to 5. So that when you get an Ankh, you can revive. That's great that it's only 5 seconds. Glove of Haste. I think that the gloves should have more power. You want an item to really do something. Circle of Nobility, the cost increase. I remember noticing that.
Else, crash with these fancy here for our case. So, what is
Talk about the twos maps: Twisted Meadows, Lost Temple, Nullwood, Turtle Rock, Phantom Grove, High Synergy, King and Country, Gold.
my verdict? I said
These are some fantastic maps. So apparently there's going to be someone that's coming onto a
This guy.
series. Here's another
How they
guy.
interact and how
Once
they block
again,
each
this
other,
is not my
etc.
footage. So let's see what they're talking about here.
Or risk, right?
So I'm just going to read some of the stuff. So they've got it put on an Excel, and this guy's name is Gondola.
The changes, like how much can this be game
So as we can see here,
breaking change a lot, or how important is it in general? But I mean, people might have very strong different opinions on this, and some of them also like said from low to very high because it's so hard to tell like what the actual impact will be.
so some of these changes, for example, this human change. Just one second. This human change. Polymorph can attack heroes. That went away. Arcane Tower. No longer require Lumber Mill to build Sundering Blade. What to build Sundering Blade now requires no longer require Lumber Mill to build Knights. Okay. I didn't. Wow. Sundering Blade now requires an upgrade. Sundering Blade. Is this to do with this is to do with the Knights. Requires an upgrade. This kind of helps the Knights against the medium. This upgrade didn't really do much for me. I think it's really kind of like a custom game upgrade. Blood Mitch, Flame Strike channel time reduced from 0.9 to 0.8 seconds. Flame Strike channel time reduced to 0. So, so it's going to activate a lot. I agree with that. Spell Breakers control magic mana per summon hit point reduced from 45 to 35. That's fantastic. And control mana, magic mana per summoned hit point reduced from 45 to 35. So you have to have a certain amount of mana to control someone else's summon. I don't really look at this segment of the game. I think you'd have to pull up, whatever you can pull up to kind of get that going and stuff. A Dragon Hawk Rider base damage increase from.
It's a way for us to maybe like structure our.
I already
I
talked
don't think
about
a
that.
lot of feedback. I'm not sure it matters much in practical terms, but we'll see. So yeah, feedback matters a bit. Before this point, this should be pretty even.
Are you looking for a new
Once
fence
again,
or
another
gate for
ad.
your home
All
or
I'm doing is
property?
trying to make a
Type in your
video.
address and drop the red
brilliant.
pins to create the perimeter of your desired fence. Boom! Take advantage.
Against summons, like it's more or less the same in all situations. And as such, I don't think it matters much. I think if heal wards go up, there's still 5 mana. You should still be able to cancel them. I kind of have a feeling that human players, by like intuition, even if they for some reason had cancel mastered spellbreakers and could control the healing wards, they quite often still destroy them just on like pure instinct. You're so used to just like healing ward, put it down. Like we don't want that on the ground, right? And it's actually kind of hard, like intuitively, to see the difference in color of the healing ward, which like if it affects you or the.
Yeah, so a spellbreaker can definitely take over a healing ward that you see that the enemy has placed. You use your spellbreaker to take the healing ward, and the hotkey for that is standard at C.
We'll take that as like we believe him. I think is that they now can take over 600 HP summons at max mana. Then you used to be only be able to take 500 HP. So it's actually these games, whatever, is usually like a mass army based, like mass air based army. I don't mind base damage troll hunters. Orc is like generally the most difficult race I feel like to tinker with, because I do think Orc curse.
So as you can imagine, they're just going through all these different parts, and I wanted to skip over it. No point sitting there listening to a bunch of opinions when I'm the third guy healing remove from tournament relics.
Value you need
I'm not 100% sure these guys
cargoes versus
really.
wires, for instance. I don't think this will change that enough, but it's like maybe.
Also, there's some undead ones I haven't seen. Okay, so web upgrade costs reduced from 15 to 150 to cost reduced. So web upgrade, so they can get web a little faster. I noticed that it definitely helps with undead. It's almost, it's amazing vibe. Boneyard cost reduced. That's okay. Frost breath duration of heroes increases from 3 to 4. So they even more. A lot of times you'll see a frostworm chase down a hero, and you're running, 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 but the slow is catching up to you, and it's really sad. And abomination can do more base damage. Anything for the abominations to kind of get it sussed.
This
What
point
else?
is now like insanely super giga strong.
Yeah, just talking
Pretty
about
much anything
undead.
that we have currently on the maps. Human will be favored, but it's not as one-sided as it is now.
So matchup balance. They're talking about what they think. Human versus orc, humans versus elf. Neo says equal, maybe human favorite, human versus orc. Um, well, I don't think that. I think it's who's playing, and we could both agree with that. But I don't. These guys, I wouldn't give them half a sandwich at this point in time. But human versus orc. What I like to do with human versus orc is rush human with a bunch of griffins. That magic attack is going to get their borrows very quickly before they can upgrade the fortified borrow.
So we're moving towards even.
Yeah, the way I would look at it is if the orc executes perfectly,
Undead.
like both.
Human versus. Okay, now let's see what they said. Human versus undead. Neo said that undead is favorite, and I just agree. I believe undead is so powerful with the nukes. Solo players that are undead. The other guy called Dondo said equal but slightly human favored, and that's what everyone's been talking about is human being favored versus undead.
And then I feel like the last time
An orc versus elf equals slightly favored to orc. I think orc can smash elf. And the other guy said slightly favored to orc. So they're both agreeing with each other, and I agree with that.
feels completely alien to you, you can't like do any respect, and you can slowly like
And I'm just seeing what they
burn it, right? I think it's
what
if
the
the hero
forums
like it
are.
basically removes item interactions.
This is Reddit. So these were the balance changes that occurred. And the date of this was once again, these people go back to Warcraft 2024, and that was about 8 months ago. And those balance changes to me really seem like that they really kind of change up the melee game, and they're definitely something to be aware of, but they weren't very significant to me. But it's your own opinion.
That's what people are scared about.